Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and in this video I'm going to give you my top 10 movies from Warner Brothers that I would like to see on 4K Blu-ray Volume 2. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Okay, in today's video, I will be giving you my top 10 Warner Brothers movies that I would like to see as a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. If you're a longtime follower of the channel or new, you may be aware of a previous series of videos I did from all the studios of most requested 4K discs. And, that was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I thought I would give an update here in 2022. Of course, I'm not going to retread any of those movies that I covered before. I will leave a link to the series of those videos in the comments and the description of this video if you want to check out some of the movies that made it and some that have yet to be, arriving on the formats. So this one is going to be purely Volume 2, and I thought I would really explore some stuff that's a little bit more under the radar. And I think a lot of these are, some of these are well-known, very well-known, but others I feel that you may be, like, hey, I never would have thought of that. Of course, this is going to be my list. It's very subjective. Yours will be very different, but as always, I encourage you to put in the comments, what Warner Brothers movies would you like to see made into 4K Blu-rays in the near future? I really enjoy Warner Brothers as a studio and releasing all these movies on 4K. They've been killing it the last couple years. So I'm very confident that at least half of these will show up sooner rather than later. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's dive right into my number 10. My first pick is probably one of the most well-known directors ever that is currently working in Hollywood, and that is Steven Spielberg, and the film is Empire of the Sun. Initially, I was going to put AI, artificial intelligence here, but apparently Paramount owns the distribution rights to that one in the States. So I went with another one, which is, going back to what I mentioned earlier, underrated, is one of the more, I would say low-key Spielberg films. A lot of people don't really know about this one. And even fewer people know that Christian Bale, very young Christian Bale, starred in this one. It's a very gripping World War II drama. The director has such a flair for that time period. And I love that he takes, that moment in history and spins it in different ways. And Empire of the Sun is really good. And I think it has some wonderful visuals. I think, putting this on 4K, especially with an HDR and Dolby Vision, it would really just bring this one up to another level. I am a fan of the film. I'm hoping we see a 4K edition of this one very shortly. So yes, that is why it is my number 10. My number 9 pick, that is going to go to a classic comedy, Caddyshack. I feel comedies, the genre, is really underrepresented on 4K, but I really want this one just for the fact that I feel the Blu-ray just is a little bit rough looking. It's very dated. So let's clean it up, put it on the 4K format, and just let audiences explore this one as it was intended to be seen. Once again, classic comedy. Rodney Dangerfield on 4K I think would kind of blow my mind. Chevy Chase, Bill Murray. Oh, just such a great cast. In my opinion, it's a timeless comedy. It's something I go back to every few years, but I would love for 4K to give this one the proper respect visually. Yeah, it's not going to be the most beautiful, eye-popping film ever made, but just to give it the best possible version for us to watch at home, I think it's worth putting it out on 4K. And yes, Caddyshack, definitely, let's make it happen. For number 8, this is going to be on a lot of people's list, and that is Twister. There have been rumors this was coming to 4K for the last few years, and it's even made a few of my most requested lists in the past. But, as far as Warner Brothers demo-worthy potential 4Ks go, Twister is absolutely high on that list. And I think it's a matter of when more than an if. Apparently a Blu-ray was released not too long ago that had an updated Atmos track, so port that one over here, give it a fresh coat of some HDR or Dolby Vision, and really just let people at home enjoy this film. Yes, it's of course not the most deep cinematic experience, but it's fun, and it still really holds up. It's, once again, it's not Shakespeare, doesn't need to be, but for home theater enthusiasts, Twister absolutely is on a lot of people's lists. For number 7, I'm going to dip back into classic Hollywood and the musical genre with The Music Man. I have a personal history with this film. I remember seeing it in elementary school, and it really opened my eyes. I was already into film at that point. I was. But as far as musical goes, I think it's one of my favorites. Robert Preston, Shirley Jones, and the Blu-ray's fine. It is. But I would love to see this one on 4K with a nice HDR Dolby Vision. I think it would really just bring out all the colors. The period-centric costuming would just look fantastic. And I feel also, next to comedies, musicals are, kind of not shown a whole lot of love on 4K. I think this one's gonna happen eventually. I'm not confident when, probably on some milestone anniversary, but The Music Man, it's really just a good time, and I hope to see this on 4K. At number 6, that will go to Jim Carrey in The Mask. This is another title I feel is on a lot of people's most wanted 4K list, and I think visually it will look beautiful. It's a very colorful movie. And with that extra HDR and Dolby Vision, it's just gonna pop off the screen. Yeah, some of the visual effects may stand out a little bit more just due to the time period. We don't care. We really don't. I think an updated Atmos is also essential. If you tack on a upgraded Atmos track with some HDR and Dolby Vision, this will sell. I think it's going to be a visually and audibly great 4K. I think it'll also happen, who knows when. But yeah, this is absolutely going to be on my list, and The Mask, yeah, let's make it happen on 4K. My number 5 pick is Ocean's 11, the remake. Of course, a lot of people know this film because it stars a variable, just who's who of Hollywood, with George Clooney, Brad Pitt in the lead, Julia Roberts. And I also really prefer the remake. Now, the original, if that were to get put on 4K, I would absolutely buy it. Of course, it's got iconic cast there. But I love a good crime drama, and especially ones that have a good cast. The setting, Las Vegas, I think would add a visual pop with HDR, and I think even an Atmos upgrade would benefit the film as well. Of course, you do have the sequels and the somewhat spin-off, which I believe the Ocean's 8 movie does have a 4K. But yeah, Ocean's 11, if you can only do one of them on the format, definitely go with the first one. But all three would be most welcome, and I'm hopeful one day Warner Brothers will see the light and put this one on the format. My pick for number 4 is going to be Pleasantville. If you've seen the movie, you know that I think with 4K and HDR and Dolby Vision, this film would pop off the screen visually. If you're unaware, there's a lot of black and white elements, and the world that the characters inhabit slowly starts turning into color, and that visual pop, I think, would be taken just to a whole new level. The movie has a great cast. Reese Witherspoon, Tobey Maguire, they play brother and sister, and the world that this film just brings to the screen is visually very pleasing. I think this would make an excellent 4K Blu-ray. I'm hopeful it's going to happen sooner rather than later, of course. So yeah, Pleasantville, excellent film, would make for an excellent 4K, especially with that HDR and Dolby Vision. So let's hope it's going to happen in the near future. My number 3 pick is another musical, this time the Frank Oz directed Little Shop of Horrors. I have such a fondness for this film. I saw it on my 10th birthday, and I've owned every home format version of it ever since. I love the movie. It's got great visual elements that I think would really pop, especially with HDR. And I would say if you're going to put this on 4K, definitely use like seamless branching, put the alternate ending cut also in 4K. Give viewers the choice. I always alternate between both of them on the Blu-ray, which, by the way, the Blu-ray is still a very nice looking disc, but let's give it just the elevation it deserves. Put it on 4K with nice HDR and Dolby Vision, and I would even say upgrade the audio. I think you could, with Audrey 2 moving around and singing, I think it would really benefit audibly and visually. So yes, Little Shop of Horrors is definitely on my list. At number 2 is actually going to be a sequel, and that is Blade 2 from director Guillermo del Toro. Of course, Warner Brothers put the first Blade on 4K about a year or two ago, so there's no reason to think that the sequel won't follow suit, and I believe this is more of a case of when rather than if. Of course, I am a huge fan of the director, and it was one of the first films I watched from him, and so I always have a soft spot in my heart for it. It has some great visuals. I think an HDR pass-through would make the black levels really deep and inky and give a lot of atmosphere to the film. But of course, while we're at it, let's upgrade the Atmos, just give us the best possible audio experience. I think this one, once again, it's gonna happen. Whether it's this year or next year, it's, I would say, definitely on the short list of Warner Brothers 4K catalog releases. So yeah, I wanted to throw this on my personal list. Of course, some people really like the third film, me not so much, but I want everybody to be happy. But for me personally, Blade 2 should definitely arrive on 4K. And for my number one most wanted Warner Brothers movie that I think should get a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, that will go to Gravity. I know there were a lot of rumors, or even more than that, that this was arriving on 4K about a year or so ago, and it unexpectedly got pulled because there was a problem with the mastering or the HDR grading. So this, unfortunately, is going to stay on the wish list, but I'm very hopeful one day it will see the light of day. Of course, throw on that Dolby Atmos that eventually got released with a later Blu-ray edition. And I think this would make for a beautifully visual and audible, just demo-worthy presentation on 4K. Of course, you know, I mean, nothing's really going to beat the 3D edition of the film, which I feel is still top tier, and it makes me very sick when I watch it. But for 2D, I think this one really will shine. I'm hopeful we're going to see it. So for that reason, Gravity on 4K is my number one. So those are my top 10 most wanted Warner Brothers movies that I would like to see on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray Volume 2. If you're interested in what I put on my Volume 1 list, I will link that video in the description and the comments section below. And also look forward to updated studio most wanted 4K videos in the near future. And lastly, I want to see what you want to put on your most wanted Warner Brothers 4K list. Let me know in the comments section. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.